Somewhere down there, there's 2,000 acres of water lost in the fog. We're going to go find it and see if we can catch fish. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Tim on the Fly. We're down here at a local Corps of Engineers project. I had a few hours this morning. Just really too nice of a morning to not go out and do something. A bit foggy, bit calm, so I don't know how it's going to go. But we're going to do it. It's first week in September. The edges finally come off of all the heat we had in August and July. So kind of hoping that maybe water temperatures might be starting to cool just a tad, and that might get some fish active. Let's go find out. Alright, so we're down here. A little flock of geese over there. I don't know if you can see them in the picture or not. They're just kind of out on the edge of the fog. Spooked them off of the bank when I first walked down here, and they kind of stirred things up a little, but this is where I want to start, so I'm going to do it anyway. And I've seen a few fish splashing, or heard them splash. Didn't see anything, but heard them splash on the way down. So hopefully they're out here. We're going to start out with a little microclouser as a searching pattern. Streamers seem like they should be as effective as anything. If it wasn't for the fog, this would be a good day for indicator nymphing, but I don't think I'd be able to see my indicator very far out there. So we're going to go with the streamer and see what happens. This is one of those days where it could be just super good, or there could be absolutely nothing out there wanting to eat. And the only way to find out is going to be to keep throwing flies out there and see what happens. Alright, so we got something going here. It's not very big. Not real sure what. Oh, wait, it's got some pull. It was coming straight. Oh, yeah, it's a little guy. Looks like it might be a little white bass. Sure enough. So, not a total waste of time coming out here so far. Of course, we've only been out here about 15-20 minutes, so. He's a little guy, but he sucked that Clouser down. Get the hook out of him if I can figure out exactly how it's in there. Okay. Ah, there we go. Not a big guy, but hey, he's a fish. He's pulling. Come on, get out there. There you go. See if he had any friends. There's quite a ways out there, so they're not as close as I was hoping they'd be in this fog. But they're there. That's encouraging. Typically, if those little guys are schooled up, they're schooled up and aggressive. And you catch one and the other one, it just lights the other ones up, and you're on them for cast after cast for a little bit. Either this was a small school that was moving, or he was just a loner out there. Oh, I don't know if you heard that, but a big carp flopped out there about 30-40 yards further than I can cast. Hopefully that's not the story, that they're all in here, but they're just out there past where I can get to them. Tell you what, the dead calm air is not boding well for fishing, or at least not for catching, but it's spoiling me for casting. I'm just getting some big monstrous distance casts out there, and that's making me feel pretty good. It's making for good practice. However, there don't seem to be any fish eating it at any length. So don't know that it's making much difference other than making me feel good and giving me good practice, but hey, I'll take it. Okay, so I've been out here about an hour and a half and still just sitting on that one little white bass and one hit that felt like it might have been a bluegill, could have been a rock, could have been whatever. But conditions have changed just a little bit. It's still super still out here, but there's enough boat traffic on the water now that I'm getting a little bit of a chop and riffle on the surface, and the fog is lifted enough that I can see out there a little ways. So I've gone to the indicator rig. I'm noticing a lot of bugs on the rocks, a lot of little nymphs crawling over the rocks in the shallow waters. So maybe if there's fish in here, that's what's going on. So we'll try this for a while and see if it doesn't do any better. Not really hoping too heavy or too hard on that. This is turning out to be one of those days best described by, well, it's better than being at home, but it's better than being at home. So we're going to keep trying things and see if we can't get something to work. I've got maybe about another hour, hour and a half to be out here, so see what happens. Just keep playing with stuff. It's a good day to experiment. You don't have to quit doing what's working to try something new. So it's real easy to go ahead and shift up techniques and tactics and flies and see how different things are going to work. So we'll keep doing it. Right now I've got this indicator set pretty shallow. I saw a few little, I'm pretty sure they were bluegill, but I saw a few little surfaces, so maybe we might have a bug or two hanging out there. So I'm going to start shallow and work my way deeper, see if something doesn't happen. I make a few casts. If nothing happens at that depth, then I'll pop it out there a little deeper. Move about 6 inches to a foot each time, probably closer to 6 inches in here. Take a little longer to find the bottom and get hung up that way. And with the water being this still most of the time, I'm probably going to also be just giving that indicator just a little bit of a chug here and there, just a little short strip, just to kind of keep that fly moving out there. Sometimes if it's just hanging and not doing anything, a fish will come up and look at it and just kind of stare at it, trying to figure out if it's food, and then if you give it just that little bit of movement, they'll take. So we'll, like I said, trying different things, seeing what works or what doesn't. Okay, we got something to hit the nymph on the indicator. Not sure what we got here. He's not very big. Oh, baby drum. Yep, little baby drum, but he's something. He's a second fish. There we go. Actually, he's a little bit bigger than the white bass was, so that's something. Hit my little nymph. There we go. Get him back in the water. Watch him swim away slowly. There we go. And he's gone. So we got one fish after about an hour and a half on the streamer. We're about a half an hour into fishing the nymph, and we got another fish. So each method's worked at least once. And that is probably going to be the pacing for the day. Probably got about another hour and a half, 2 hours at the most that I can fish, so we'll see what happens. And that fish did take the nymph on a real slow, kind of poppy retrieve, so we'll keep doing that. Run that down just a little bit deeper. We out and get a little closer to the bottom, a little further out there. Maybe there might be a few little bigger fish happening. Boats are starting to get on the water. That's helping create a little bit of chops, so maybe that'll help put a little action in the fly. There we go. There we got one. This guy feels like he might have a little more weight to him. He doesn't, because he just flopped and he's tiny. But he's a fish. We're going to take him. And he's another little drum. Little bitty baby drum this time. Kind of cute when they're that size, those. So. Come on, let go. There we go. Back in you go. Oh, we're up to 3. That's better. Okay, so nothing else happened with the indicator rig. So I figured the fog is burning off. The sun is starting to come out, and my hopes are starting to wane because there's still no air moving. If there's a little bit of a breeze, it wouldn't be that bad a thing. But with this still air and the sunlight on the water, on water that's clearer than it usually is, and the fact that the moon is getting fuller, it's going to be full in about 5 days, which is going to push fish towards more of a evening feeding pattern instead of a morning pattern. I think I'm really pretty much at the end of my luck here. Of course, you know, caught 3, maybe 4 fish. Had a good time, got out of the house, so my luck's been good. I mean, the fishing's been great. Not my fault the catching's been poor. Tried everything I could. I'm back to a crawdad colored streamer now because I noticed a few of them kind of popping out on the rocks. But I think I'm just going to fish a few more minutes here and probably call it a day and go get about the business of the rest of my life, the things that I have to do instead of fishing. So, hope you've enjoyed tagging along with me this morning. Good luck fishing, and we'll see you in the next one. Tight lines.